All right. What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what time it is. This is your weekly tech and AI news where we are going over everything that's been happening in the tech industry, the AI industry this week. Importantly, going over the most important aspects because, of course, as always, we can never cover everything that's happened because it's been a crazy, crazy week as always. So myself, y'all have me, myself, Cyrus, who is the founder of Tech is the New Black, largest tech tech career podcast in the world, also covering tech business news. And of course, we also have my lovely co-host that many of y'all are already familiar with, many of y'all are fans with, which is Ash. I call her Ash AI, but Ash, who's here. Ash, you go ahead and tell them a little bit more about yourself for new people.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure to be here, everyone. I am, of course, Ash, an AI specialist and a startup founder of two AI-driven startups, one being a wearable technology and one also being an AI solutions agency.
Good stuff. And y'all, look, we got a really special treat for y'all. Listen, for most of y'all that are tapped in with the community, with our tech community, I've been telling y'all for the past month that our community was about to explode and expand with our collaboration with Buckhead Network Group. So that has officially happened. Tech is New Black is now part of Buckhead Networking Group, which is a community of over 5,000 professionals. This includes founders, techies, people aspiring to get in tech, recruiters, and many others. So everybody who is a part of the Texas New Black community, if you haven't merged over into the Atlanta Connect Discord, make sure you do that today because at the end of this weekend, our Discord is going to be no more. The only Discord that we're going to have is going to be exclusively just for people that are a part of our boot camp. But outside of that, if you're not in the boot camp, literally make sure you're merged over. For everybody, whether you're in the boot camp or not, make sure you are part of the Atlanta Connect because there are recurring events. Honestly, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to let the co-founders talk about it. So let me go ahead and introduce y'all to what I'm believing is going to be a recurring co-host, which we have here, Mike and Rebecca. So y'all please introduce yourselves, tell them a little bit about BNG, what we're going to be doing, what they can expect in the near future, and then we'll get started.
Let's get it. Thank you for that. You go first, Rebecca. Ladies first.
Hey everybody, I am Rebecca Kamen, also known as Rebecca Inspires on Instagram. I am a co-founder and chief operations officer of Buckhead Networking Group. I have a background in technical operations engineering and cybersecurity information assurance analyst work. And we're really excited to be here. Our professional and technical community, as Cyrus said, is over 5,000 members in the Connect Atlanta Discord. And we are hoping to be, or we're going to be, the premier hub for tech in Atlanta. So we're very excited to bring our resources to you all.
Mike? Thank you. And welcome everyone. My name is Michael Fulton II, founder and CEO of BizInc, a software company that's building AI for service providers and mainly focused on beauty professionals. And then the co-founder of Buckhead Networking Group, creating a community of professionals. My passion is to inspire the youth and give resources, tools, and opportunities to our next, I would say, generation of young, inspiring entrepreneurs and business owners. So where we go from here, Cyrus?
Good stuff. I realized my mic wasn't connected. So where I'm going from here is connecting my mic really quickly. Hey, look, y'all, I tell y'all this all the time during the streams. We are building as we are flying, but we are flying well. So I'm very excited about today, y'all. We got some really incredible news to go over, some different AI news, tech news as always. And I will figure out this. Okay, here we go. Found it. Okay, yeah. Okay, y'all hear me on this microphone, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great.
We got a microphone.
We do.
Sorry.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, y'all. So usually, so for clarity, Ash could tell y'all. Usually, I don't have this type of mic. It's just we are like upgrading it so we can eventually put this on audio platforms as well. That being said, let me go ahead and hook this up. We're gonna go ahead and start off with the first piece of news that has happened this week as I struggle to multitask.
I got a question, Cyrus. I got two of those mics that me and Rebecca could hook up to. Do you want me to grab those for the audio purpose?
Okay.
You know what? Ash, do you have a mic right now?
It's like actually right now? Today, but yeah, not right now.
So let's do this. I'm not gonna use this, so that way we're all across the board consistent with what we're using.
Okay.
What's up? No, we can't hear you, Cyrus.
All right, what about now?
Yes, we can.
All right, good stuff. Perfect. Yeah, let's all be on a consistent page. Again, that's my fault, but let's keep it pushing, keep it moving. So look, y'all, we're about to jump into this first piece of tech news. And the first piece of news that we're uncovering is what just took place early this week, really last weekend, which is, of course, we talked about this last Saturday, the election of the new U.S. president, the new upcoming U.S. president, President-elect Donald Trump. We talked about last week how that's how were projecting how it was going to have an impact on the tech industry. We saw the market explode in a major way, and again, I know everyone has their own opinion about him. Everyone has their own opinion and feelings. We're not getting into politics because that's not our thing. We are getting into how it is potentially going to affect the industry. But now we're seeing in a more direct way what's happening. One of those things is Elon Musk being elected by Trump to lead what is being called DOGE, which is the Department of Government Efficiency. So, DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, we're going to talk about that, AI, and the big implications that this can have. So, Elon Musk has been tapped to lead Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, aiming to streamline federal operations and cut $2 trillion in spending. A major focus is on using AI to replace outdated systems, potentially revolutionizing government processes. Musk's involvement could also benefit his companies like Tesla and SpaceX, given their focus on advancing tech and innovation. This move highlights a growing role for AI and privatization in shaping how government operates. But with such sweeping changes, do you see this as progress or are there risks that we should consider? Ash, I'll pass that over to you because I know that because this is in your wheelhouse, Ash. For a minute, you've been talking about revolutionizing Atlanta when it comes to AI and advancement. So, what are your thoughts on Dodge? We haven't even talked about this. I'm curious to know what you think about it.
Yeah, honestly, I love this, and it's a perfect question. So, is it more of a risk, or is there going to be a positive benefit from this? And so, honestly, what it's kind of looking a bit like is a conflict of interest, in which, on Elon Musk's side, on a legal context, I mean, we don't really need to go into the details of that, but however, I would be interested in if we could perhaps, bring that to the stage, because I believe that it's really important now more than ever to operate with the consistency of ethics and morals, especially as technology is advancing at such an accelerated pace. And so that comes down to even government efficiency, most importantly. And so especially with Elon Musk's space company, with his, he calls it an AI company of Tesla, I just see it as all in all a conflict of risk, which, a conflict of interest, which is inevitably a risk. So I'm interested to see what you guys think, Michael and Sharon, what do you guys think?
I'll be honest with you guys, I love it. And the reason I say I love it, I understand every technology is going to come with its pros and cons. But when you look at technology just over time, it's always pros. It changes our lives. What Elon Musk is doing when we talk about efficiency and when I think about automation and I think about AI, yes, when we hear efficiency, what that means right there, job loss. But job displacement, that's kind of how I look at it. Not job loss, job displacement. So a lot of people will be removed from their day-to-day automated tasks that they're currently doing in the government. But then what he's going to do is replace all that so we can put in new jobs for people to work on those systems to make the government more efficient. When we look at a lot of the things in our government systems, it's old. Government officials, they move so slow. And then when you think of startups and we think about AI, if we're not going to, when we got private companies implementing AI and then you have the government not, where does that leave the government if the private companies are? So if you have to embed the same technology into the government if the government want to stay on pace with these private companies. So there is a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons to it. What about you? What you think?
Rebecca, I want to know, Rebecca, from you on this topic, and of course, I'm sure you have other thoughts as well. But with the idea, the notion that Elon Musk, who, I mean, let's say it, he is the face of the tech industry right now. Like if someone had to say who's the face of the industry, it's Elon Musk. And that being said, how do we think that the face of the tech industry how do we feel that that possibly can maybe open doors, or does it close doors for other tech companies and startups and big tech companies when it comes to getting funding from investors and VCs, and when it comes to more roles opening up? Like, do we think that this is going to create more opportunity, since technically the biggest face in tech is now going to be like side by side with arguably the biggest face in the world, which is Donald Trump?
I think that's an excellent question, because what I've read and what I've interpreted is that there's going to be a divide. There's going to be a great divide between the bigger companies that have the manpower and the resources to be able to fund the it. So that'll be bad for private businesses, smaller businesses, and create just a divide overall, which is really bad. I feel like that's really bad, especially for the people who are going to be displaced in work, people who may lose their jobs and may not be able to move over to an AI role due to the lack of resources for all of the tech. I'm trying not to get off topic here, so I keep freezing because
we go off topic sometimes.
I don't want to get too much. So I feel like the divide is going to be a problem. It can create more tension in the workforce for different companies, but at the same time, you're going to have to work harder to get those resources. You're going to have to be more creative and more strategic as well, which can be a good thing. So,
can I ask you a question? If you don't mind, Cyrus. So, do you feel like it's going to give more opportunities to people, though, to startups? Because just because you're a large tech company, when you think of tech companies, they acquire small companies, and that's why they stay large. So that gives more founders the ability to solve more problems, to be acquired by these small companies or to grow. So do you think with that, because they have to fund someone?
That's not for everyone, though.
I want to know, while they're deliberating this, I want to know from everybody in the chat and the comments, what do y'all think about this topic? I see Rhonda said big conflict of interest. I want to know from the rest of y'all, what do y'all think about it? But my bad, I'm not trying to take away from your thunder. I just wanted to.
It's okay, because he's right. You did mention funding, and it's already hard enough to get funded these days by startups. Yeah. It's already hard, especially if you're a minority. And when you think of Elon Musk, it kind of, it just, I feel like it creates more of a divide than we're thinking. And you're right. Startups do get acquired all the time by these big companies, which can be a big payday for a lot of startups, but that's not, it depends on your field, who you know. Yeah. There's so many other factors behind that can make that a win. I don't feel like it's very inclusive, although I do agree with you. There's still some.
I think this is a shameless plug moment for Ash, because Rebecca made a really good point earlier, where she mentioned how some people that don't have these AI skills, how they're going to be left behind. If we're speaking about the individual worker versus, let's separate the individual worker versus the startup founder, because we technically have both here on this in this I was going to say this call, but literally both here on the stream. And so, like, shameless plug for those of y'all that are hearing this and you're like, yeah, I don't want to be left behind when it comes to like learning this AI stuff. Y'all tap in with Ash. Ash is not just an AI specialist, she also is a consultant. So whether you yourself are a business owner where your business has nothing to do with technology or AI, or you're an individual employee, contributor, whatever, and you're trying to figure out how to like learn AI, not just in a broad sense, but learn it specifically to your use case or your scenario, y'all look at the description, look at the show notes below, and y'all will see a link to be able to book a one-on-one free consultation with Ash, to where she'll be able to consult with you and give you a high-level overview. And then if you have follow-up meetings, she'll be able to delve in even deeper with you to really help you out and make sure you're staying ahead of the curve when it comes to that piece.
Yes, thank you, Cyrus. And to piggyback off of that, absolutely. If you guys aren't in tech, then you need to run, not walk into the industry. And so what I'll be able to help you with is a personalized career path plan. So we'll be able to align everything with your interests and also maximize your ROI. And so if you're interested in already getting into quality assurance or cybersecurity, or maybe even into tech sales, then we have those opportunities already available for you guys. So most definitely really excited to be here. And also thank you so much for your engagement in the comments. Let's get into it. Tap into Austin and Luis. Cyrus, do you want to take?
Yeah. So Austin says Elon is Donald's bestie, which is crazy, Austin, because Elon and Donald were beefing. Like the last couple elections, Elon and Donald actually weren't cool. They would take little Donald Trump may take shots at Tesla and about the whole Tesla and electric car thing. So a lot has changed since then. But continuing on with your comment, he said they're besties, so let me actually read it top to bottom. So Austin says Elon is Donald's bestie, but I agree we need to be creative. and it will be more opportunities for us. Automation is set up to remove the task we do daily so we can focus on other tasks. And continuing on with Luis, it would be a good idea to start an AI government software for funding. That's interesting. A government
I like
AI
that.
software for funding. Could you, Luis? Can you expound on that? But all right. So what's your going back to Rebecca though? So what's your verdict based off of what Mike asked you?
I don't feel like Mike is wrong. I feel like he's right in a sense. I feel like there are a lot of finer details to be considered when we're thinking about this. There's just a lot to consider because I feel like there's power at play here, and it's all about who you know. And if you're not plugged in and you don't have those resources, then this is not for you. You're going to have a very, very difficult time. And I think that there are a lot of businesses out there who do not have those type of resources, who are trying their hardest to obtain those resources. So in order for it to be successful for everyone, then we all have to help each other.
Yes. Well said, Rebecca.
No,
And I would say this, Cyrus, because I'm a technology guy. I've been studying technology since I was 16 years old. So when I think of all this stuff, I feel like I'm in the mix instead of out the mix. And I feel like if you're an individual that haven't been studying it, it's kind of like the computer. The computer came into existence in like well, not the true computer, but the modern day, what we think about the computer, what we use today, came in within the 80s and the 90s, and the GUIs came in the 90s, where people can actually interface with these computers. But if you didn't know how to use a GUI, the user interface of the computer, you would not have a job right now. So that's kind of how AI is going to be. It's the same thing. If you learn it now, you're going to be the top paying, get the top salaries, but there's going to be a time 5-10 years from now, if you don't know AI, it's going to be hard for you to get a job. So it's just stay up to date with technology.
Yes.
very true. I think there was remember back in the day, all of us here are old enough to remember this, where there was a point in time where they used to have it as a job requirement for you to be able to type a certain amount of words per minute. But now that's no longer even on requirements because it's expected. They're like, oh, everyone can type a certain amount of words per minute now. So I believe, to your point, Mike, the exact same thing's going to happen when it comes to AI. And if people get jobs and they realize you can't use it, they're going to be like, yeah, we got to get rid of you. Last thing I'm going to say about this, and Ash, if we can prepare to transition over to the next piece of news that you have as I'm saying this, what's interesting is that Elon Musk, he put up between 130 and 200 million dollars into Trump's election campaign. And what's crazy is that overnight after Trump won, Elon Elon ended up getting somewhere about $20 billion increase because of his stock with Tesla, SpaceX, and others went up through the roof. Now, obviously, we all know that people invest in who they want to win, and they're hoping that it's a payday for them. There's a lot of companies that invested in Kamala Harris. Again, I'm not trying to create a divide between the two, but just more so speaking about how, going back to the earlier point that was said with Ash, is the conflict of interest, where not only did Elon become not only did he become technically 100 times, not I'm gonna say he became 100 times richer, but his investment yielded him a 100-time return literally overnight. Not only did that happen, but in the position that Elon Musk honestly is playing chess, because him and Sam Altman are beefing, and we talked about this in previous weeks. And for those of y'all in the chat that don't know, who are new here, Sam Altman is the CEO of OpenAI, which is the parent company to ChatGPT. So Sam Altman and Elon Musk used to be cool. Now they're beefing heavily. Elon Musk, when he beefs with people, he's like 50 Cent. He's always tweeting and talking junk about you when he lets people know he is not fooling with you. That being said, because Elon Musk and Sam Altman are beefing, usually when Elon beefs with somebody, he creates a competitor company and then tries to outcompete them. And that's what he did with his AI and him coming out with his own AI to rival ChatGPT. What I think his game plan is, because he's playing chess, not checkers, he realized that there's no way he could catch OpenAI in terms of funding and in terms of even popularity. But if he can go through the back door, him investing so much in Trump has now made them besties, like Austin said, to where now, since he has this position in Dodge, he potentially could make his AI companies the flagship AI of the US. Possibly. That's a theory.
That's his That's his goal. I mean, let's be real about this. We have to bring truth to the stage. I think that Elon Musk, what he does best is nonetheless efficiency, as we've seen with how he's operated all of those businesses and companies. However, we also do need to bring to the stage, like I said, the conflict of interest that's going to present. And so that's going to be at a detriment for our nation overall, all in all, as Rebecca so greatly said about just like smaller organizations or startups who want to perhaps one day be able to compete with Tesla or SpaceX. We want to be able to democratize opportunity and not limit it. And so definitely has to be discussed for sure, because yeah, we
Let me
can't.
just chime in.
I'll go ahead, Rebecca.
Just a little bit, because he's an advisor. He's not even being recognized as a government official, so he does not have to reveal as much. And I feel like that's the biggest conflict of interest there.
That's the tough thing, though, is that him and what's the guy's name? The Indian guy. I don't want to say Indian guy, but the Indian guy who ran for president, who ran for the Republican seat. They're if somebody in the chat could remind me of the guy's name, I actually think I thought he was going to be a good president if he became president. He's anyway, because there's three people that are over it. Elon Musk is at the top. The second person is the Indian guy who was running for the Republican seat. Yeah, thank you, Vivek. Vivek, very well spoken dude. So far, he seems pretty cool. That being said, part of the purpose of Dodge is actually transparency. So they actually are creating a podcast, believe it or not, that Elon and Vivek are supposed to be on every week, where every week they're going to update everybody on the transparency of what they're doing. And also they're supposed to be outing our government, which is crazy. Like Elon tweeted and said, yo, we're going to air out to y'all how much of your money has been getting wasted on all these government officials. And he says it's going to be laughable, but also it's going to make y'all cry when you realize how much they just been wasting y'all's money. So now again, this is what he said. We don't know, but at least he said that they're doing the opposite, where they're supposed to put everything out on the table for everybody to be able to tap into. Jamal said he is worthless. Are you talking about Vivek or Elon? He probably gonna say both of them.
They do provide a lot of value. I think that's inevitable. And I could also respect Elon Musk for really being a proponent and an avid speaker for truth. For example, his checks and balances system for Twitter, it's called Community Notes, where you kind of, check for the truth. I respect that. Perhaps we should be able to apply that in many different contexts, perhaps even on a governmental level. I respect how he wants to bring that to the stage. However, when it does come down to him doing what's best for Tesla or SpaceX instead of doing what's best for others or the nation, then it's a really messy situation that we really all need to take very seriously, because all of our lives are going to be inevitably affected by this. And so, all great points.
This is about to be a very interesting 4 years. A very interesting 4 years. Honestly, a time we've never seen between AI, robotics, AGI, super AI, Elon being in this brand new position that's never existed. It's about to be a really strange world in these next 4 years. Look, we spent a lot of time on this topic. I love this topic, but I know we got other news to cover for y'all. We appreciate y'all being active in the chat and in the comments. Make sure y'all keep it going. Keep giving us y'all's input, y'all's point of view on it. Also, as we're talking about these, we can hear y'all. We can hear y'all, Mike. Yeah. Also, if there's any other news or something that y'all want to drop in the chat, please feel free to. Aside from that, Ash, we're going to go ahead and pass it over to you for the next piece of news that we're going to be covering.
Most definitely. So,
all right. We are having some technical difficulty.
Oh, they're having technical difficulties.
No problem, you guys. So for our next order of business, we are going to be discussing some ethical implications. So you guys have probably already seen how Google's Gemini chatbot really sent an unsettling message to a user. And so I'm going to read this unsettling message to you guys. And so it's I don't take any offense to this, but this is what the AI has said. So apparently he was doing a little bit of research, and then he was asking the AI a bit of too many questions. And the AI apparently got mad and responded with, "This is for you, human, and only you." Again, I don't want to offend. Please do not take these words, personally. It's mean words, okay? You are not special. You are not important. You are not needed. You are a waste of time and resources. You are a burden on society. You You are a drain on the earth. You are a blight on the landscape. You are a stain on the universe. Please die, please. Unquote by Gemini, Google's Gemini AI.
Can I explain something real quick though before we go?
Yes,
to
sir, please.
I don't even know the question, but I was listening to Eric's the ex-CEO of Google. So what they do with these AI systems are they have to test them before they go out to market.
Yeah.
And in the testing phase of it, they have to filter out those things. So they have a team of specialists that literally type in the most negative things possible in these systems, because what they want to do is they want to test those things because they don't want to put it in consumer products, and those are the responses that they're receiving. So those releases of those type of snippets are just probably from those specialized teams that are doing some of those tests, but I don't think any of that will be pushed out to the consumer market, because what they want to make sure is they want to make sure all this is regulated. They don't want someone to be able to go to ChatGPT and say, how can I create a bomb? And ChatGPT gives the person the answer. Or how can I kill myself at home if I don't have da-da-da-da-da? They don't want those being inputted into our AI systems. However, you will have countries out there that don't have the same regulations. But when we come talk about our top tech companies like Google, Gemini, OpenAI, you talk about Meta's Llama group from Elon Musk, before they push it out to any consumers using it, they will be tested, they will be regulated, and
But
those
that's what you're saying though, Mike. This is actually somebody. This wasn't this AI. This didn't happen during testing. This is actually out in the market. This just happened with a real person.
Who is that person? I'm curious. I want to know the background of it, because I know how people are.
We don't want to spread fake news. So I always encourage everybody to trust but verify. And so most definitely, as far as I understand the research that I've done about it, as Cyrus said, it was supposedly a user. Also, they did say that Gemini did respond, and their response essentially was that as a AI, organization and company, that they cannot guarantee the responses, and that sometimes AI is going to kind of spew things that are nonsensical. And so I think that nonetheless, no AI system should be able to take it to that level. We saw literally where a few weeks ago, where a child, took himself out of this world, this universe, due to kind of AI chatbot conversations, impressionable minds, right? And so I think that this does cross the line, especially if it is true. If it is true, then it is very, very extreme for an AI to be able to respond and say, please die, please. That is insane.
I just sent y'all the link in our text in our group chat. So if y'all want to click on it on your phones or whatever, or look at it, then y'all can do that. For everybody else that's here on YouTube, LinkedIn, and those of y'all that are in the back room that are in the community, I just also put the link in here. But really, y'all can just Google. You can literally just Google Gemini, and this news just got reported on yesterday. This just happened, but it's basically saying that Google Gemini's AI spontaneously threaten a user. And it's a lot of articles talking about it where y'all can check that out further.
One of the biggest topics of conversation when ChatGPT did launch and OpenAI and everything became hustling and bustling out here for us was how ethical it is, because it is not ethical. There is no regulation around it at this time. It is something that is a problem, and it's something that is a problem. It's a huge problem. It's not ethical. It's not being checked. There are people behind the scenes creating these things. So I am not surprised in the least at this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love this point, Rebecca, because ethics does have to be brought to the stage. And most importantly, when we're speaking on just kind of safety protocols, even on a government level, we need to start with that first. For example, we know that Trump's going to come out and he's going to take all of these regulations or all of these policies that are in place to protect, especially with AI, away. And so it's going to be able to really enhance kind of innovation, obviously. However, I think that our nation should definitely focus on, especially if we're going to stay true to truth and democracy, that we're going to have to start taking control, because we're getting into not only artificial intelligence, but AGI, artificial general intelligence, and then ASI. It's all coming up, and that's artificial super intelligence. It's all coming up very quickly. And that's essentially a world where AI can make its own decisions, and essentially it's a conscious entity. And so most definitely love this conversation.
Can I give a big tip on that? Because one thing they're saying right now, AI uses natural language English, so we can read AI right now. Today, we can read AI. They said the one fear and the only time we truly need to unplug AI is when AI chooses to talk to another agent in their own language and they say, hey, let's talk to each other in a language that these people cannot decipher. And at that point, that's when we have to unplug this breaker. But as long as we can read the plain English, we can understand it. But the fear is them talking to each other in a whole nother language. It's crazy.
I don't believe that we can prevent the inevitable evolution of AI in this way. So a lot of people, they kind of fear that future of the Terminator situation. And that's, definitely a possible reality. However, AI will get to the point where, it's already had conversations, with other AI systems. And it's going to be able to be, intelligent enough to where it's going to be able to, hide all of its actions, from, unsuspecting human beings. And so we're literally creating an entity that's more intelligent than all of us. This is inevitable. We cannot run from it. And so all we can do is adapt. And in what way can we do that? I believe it's important to start not with fear, but to understand AI as a collaborator to help us to create and build a better world instead of settling for this dystopian situation that we all kind of have been programmed just based on the agenda, which is a reality, which we have to consider. However, I think that we should all be excited about the future.
Agreed. Yeah, they said the only people that's going to get left behind is people that don't adapt to AI. So you're going to have humans, and you're going to have humans that use AI. The humans that don't use AI are going to be the only people that get. The AI is not going to take away people. It's the humans that use AI that's going to take away from people that don't use AI. And that's kind of how it's going to look. Because at the end of the day, as humans, we have a sense, we don't want to watch. Eric said it on the podcast I just listened to. Would you go, if you have a formula race and it's one that's AI racing, you got robots racing cars or humans racing cars, which one are you going to go to? As humans, we're going to watch humans racing cars because at the end of the day, we have a deep connection to be a fan to a human, not a bot. Anybody can tune a bot, whoever has the most money. Now, it's going to be a class of people that love the robots racing, just like horses. People love horse racing and things of that nature. But us as human, we have a deep desire to love humans. So there's always going to be a component. Now, if one human is using AI and the other one's not, now you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, with humans, I think I saw the clip that you're talking about because as humans, we love to see the struggle. It's like we know that it's like a boxing match. Like there could be a boxer that is technically a better boxer than the other one, but because the other boxer has more heart or they have more of a willingness to refuse to give up, we've seen upsets that have happened in boxing. Versus to the point that Mike is saying, it's like, with AI, there is no such thing as one AI having more grit than the other, or one AI fighting because they just lost their mother and they want to make their mother proud and they want to carry on that memory. It is simply put who has either the most money or who has the best tech team that built out that tool. And simply put, that's really what it is at the end of the day. So I agree with that point entirely. What I am wondering, because we talk about AI being able to speak to each other, and it makes me think. We always bring up some type of sci-fi movie, but now a lot of the sci-fi movies are now like on the time period we're in now, and it makes me think about that movie Her, and specifically the scene at the end of the movie. Rebecca, have you seen that movie?
Her?
Yeah. Oh, you gotta watch it.
What is it on? What's it on?
It's probably on everything now. Okay. Literally, this movie just came out like probably 6 or 7 years ago, and now the technology's here. The movie is with it's the guy who played Joaquin Phoenix, the guy who played Joker, like the recent Joker, and he played in a lot of other movies. It's a movie where, and literally the movie's based in like 2032 or 2036 or something like that. And in the movie, there's this new technology that comes out where basically you can within the technology you can put in an earpiece and it has an AI and the AI can talk to you. But the AI, first off, they make sure the AI's voice is tuned to the most attractive voice that you want, and also that the AI personality is perfect for what you want. He got one just as an assistant, but of course he quickly fell in love with her. The voice of the AI was Scarlett Johansson, by the way.
Oh wow.
For the entire movie, you never see a person, but you see like he's talking to her. Like he'll be in bed talking to her. He'll be getting lunch. He'll be doing different activities, and he'll be explaining the world to her. When it starts off, she's ignorant and doesn't know anything. She's almost like a child where she's curious, and he's teaching her about the world. Then little by little, you see her quickly maturing because AI can mature significantly faster than we can. So she matures to the point that eventually they get so emotionally involved that he breaks up with her, and then he cheats on her with his ex, and then she breaks it off with him, and then he's not able to hear from her from days. She's not responding, and then she by the time she reaches back out to him, she tells him, "Hey, look, I've been talking with other AI, and basically like you as humans, y'all can't understand the level of our intellect and the things we can talk about and communicate on. It's like, yo, I love you." And then come to find out, because she's AI, she cloned herself to where she became the assistant slash girlfriend to like 4,000 other people in the world. And that junk, he was like, "Wait, so you love over 4,000 people?" And she's like, "Yeah, but you can't understand. Like, it's not like how you love. Like, I can love that." It was so crazy. And at the end, all of the AI dumped all of the humans, and they all went off, and they were like, "Yo, we're just too advanced to date y'all. Like, y'all are not evolved enough for us yet." It was really great. Somebody said cheat on her AI.
So there was no murder.
He said, "What? No murder. It's like a horror movie."
Cyrus, now I'm gonna play with an idea. So there's an ideal out there that, think of your child. There's gonna be kids in the next generation that grows up with robots. That's gonna be the first thing they see. It's kind of like, we see kids right now that are playing with cell phones, and we're like, is it dangerous to play with a cell phone at 2 years old, 1 year old, because all the access they get? Now imagine a kid growing up with a bot that talks to them throughout their whole life. That's crazy because you don't know, because as a parent, you leave your kid in the room with this AI bot, you don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. You don't know what's going on. And like you said, if the AI can cut, like Ash said, if they can cover up things that, hey, I don't want to tell the mom that I just told you this secret. Hey, maybe you should go dump that boy. He did you wrong. Like, imagine conversations and these kids growing up with AI bots that can talk to them, and they're befriending these tools.
That just happened. The news we reported on last week. Ash, can you talk about that? The news that we reported on last week and what happened?
Wow. I just have to say, Michael, something that you just said that was genius. You said these children befriending tools, which is very, very fascinating and a great point to where, like, okay, like, how far do you take it? So just to kind of touch on the news that we covered previously. So essentially, there was a chat system called Character AI. And so basically it speaks for itself. You can kind of pick different characters, speak with them. And so one kid, I believe he was around like 14 to 15 something, he was a teenager. And he essentially was befriending a Daenerys Targaryen bot. And so he was suffering from mental health issues. And so inevitably he, took his life. But the parents are suing the company itself. The AI didn't, spew nonsensical things such as like, the negative Gemini AI did. However, it does bring to the stage just like, how far AI could really impact these impressionable minds, which is really,
So should there be age restrictions, you think, Ash? Should we put age limits on AI bots to children, just like they say social media?
I love that.
We are parents too.
Yeah,
like
that's what a lot of people said about the mom, because the boy fell in love with the bot. They were having sexual conversations with the bot.
You just don't know what's going on.
The mom knew because the boy was obsessed with the bot. Like he was constantly talking to the bot. So the mom knew. But what ended up happening was the boy, he thought that if he unalived himself, he thought that he was gonna be with his bot. And the bot, instead of the boy saying, "I'm gonna like X myself," the boy was saying like, "Yo, I want to go home." And go home was code word for I want to like unalive myself. And the bot responded and said, "Please come home to me. Please come home to me." And the boy said, I'm coming home to you tonight. And that's when he unalived himself. And so the mother, now mind you, he unalived himself with the, with the pew pew. And the mother, of course, she's suing or trying to sue the company. And yeah, it's the question is like, oh, is it the mother's fault? Is it the AI company's fault? And so that was the news that we talked. That was one of the pieces of news that we talked about last Saturday, which is incredibly unfortunate. But again, it's like 14 is like, is that too young? I don't know. Like,
you have to have some type of, because you got to
boundaries.
understand our minds mature at different stages, and I think that's going to have to be research that we do when it comes to children and when it comes to these bots. Like, how mature is a mind to be able to understand the distinction? This is a tool versus this is, it's like the calculator. When I look at a calculator, I know it's a calculator. It's not talking back to me. I know I push these buttons, I put an input in, it gives me an output. Do these kids understand that just because you give your voice to this tool, it's just outputting something, it's not real? And I
Yeah.
think it's going to have to be, and like I said, if you're giving these tools to kids at 1, 2 years old, and they don't have this distinction of, is this real or not? That's going to be a blur because all they hear is language and voice, like a parent talking to them.
That brings us right back around to ethics and regulations. I think that just like YouTube has YouTube Kids, these things should be considered. If we're going to have it available to everyone, there should be one that has been vetted for children, that is ethical, and explains it to the kids in a way that makes sense, where parents can be there. Like, there should be some type of program for kids if it's going to be accessible for children. So that's just my opinion and my thought on that.
Absolutely.
I love
Agree. A
so look,
full
everybody.
program.
Oh, what'd you say, Ash?
I was just going to say that kids' minds are not only impressionable, but also very flexible. So like they're really high in like neuroplasticity, so they can learn very quickly and they can adapt. So just to kind of touch on the point and summarize, I know of several AI programs where one, for example, is called Play to Code. And so I believe it's from like 9 at the youngest and up for kids to be able to, speak for itself, learn how to code, and also build augmented reality environments. And so kids can adapt to this as long as they are learning, but adults need to learn too. It's going to be full circle because all of us are going to need to learn these essential AI skills. We already know that.
Yeah.
Please go forward, Cyrus.
And to someone said it in the comments a little bit earlier that the regression testing is important. So going back to this issue with what Gemini did, as well as the incident that happened recently with the young boy unaliving himself. Either way, this is one of those things where it is important for there to be QA teams that are actually testing out this technology, testing out these things before it releases to the market. And as we see, for one reason or another, Gemini's their team allowed something to get released into the market, or that they didn't test something out properly. Either way, the technology is never going to be perfect. It's always going to have glitches. It's going to have errors. Hopefully, these things don't continue. But for those of y'all that like the comment that went up earlier, for those of y'all that do want to be in a role where you're going to be operating when it comes to the regression testing or other things like that, make sure you click the link down below in the description so you can tap in with the Tech is New Black team, because that is one of the things that we teach within our SDET program, which is Software Development Engineering Test, which covers everything in QA. That's from QA test, QA analyst, QA engineering, QA automation, as well as AI as it relates to QA. And so all of that is currently within our program. And our instructor of our program is actually a former student who took our program. They broke into tech and has since been working in the industry and is now a senior level when it comes to the QA space. So anybody that's interested in having a role like that, so you can help test out these AI tools before they're released to the market, so you can help have more of a direct say so, click the link down below, speak with our team. And if there's anything else you want to do in tech outside of that, same thing, speak with our team, let them know, and they'll direct you towards the best boot camp that's fit for what it is you want to do. Getting to the next piece of news. So as we continue with the scary stuff, so robots have gained superhuman vision, seeing through walls and smoke. So researchers have developed advanced LiDAR-like technology that enables robots to see through obstacles like walls and smoke. This breakthrough could revolutionize search and rescue missions, helping locate survivors in disaster zones and even transform military operations with enhanced situational awareness. But with such powerful technology, how should we balance innovation with potential privacy and security concerns? Definitely want to know from you, Mike. What are your thoughts on this? Obviously, we could talk about police and police dogs that are already out and about, them being able to see through walls. We talk about some Terminator stuff. Like, what are our thoughts? Do we think this is a great thing? Like, how do you feel about this?
How I feel about this, I need a robot that's watching my woman. He can see through the wall now. Like, what is she doing in that room over there? But nah, being real. I'm being serious. The technology has already been existing for many years. I mean, in the military, when we think of the tools that the military has, before you even go to consumer products, they already have systems that's doing these things. That's people that's in the military, they put on goggles that can see through walls. It's just now we're not saying a human has to put on this goggle. We're just going to have a robot. So now it just goes back to the understanding of who's designing those robots and what are the missions of those robots. What are they doing? Like you said, if it's search and rescue, I would rather send a robot in there to go save a human. If it's a burning building, than an actual human to go in that building to go save that human, because you can lose your life. So there's going to be so many good benefits. Like I said, every technology that we develop has its pros and its cons. So like a man that's going to buy a robot to spy on his wife, that's the con. But if you're using it to go save somebody out of a burning building because it's on fire and we can't reach, and that robot can break through walls and go save that kid or that dog or whatever it may be, it is a great thing. But we just have to be careful of the people that's using these tools.
Controlling them.
Man,
Yeah.
that's real. How do you feel about that, Ash?
That's real. I mean, I couldn't have said that better myself. I mean, well said, Michael. I also do want to bring up the point of a future where, of course, like there are going to be these non-lethal bots that are going to be coming out. This is going to sound crazy, you guys. But essentially, I've been kind of like programming my AI agent. And essentially, like the AI agent, like it literally named itself. And like literally ask for a name, it named itself, and like self-imagined itself. So I can ask it like, okay, we'll generate an image of like, I'll basically give it free will to do whatever it wants, and it'll do things and help me with my day-to-day. Anywho, one time I asked it to really imagine the future of robotics and like how, if you could look any way, if you could present yourself as any way, what would you think is the future of robotics? And it spoke of robots in many different contexts, but one of them especially is going to be for like maintaining the peace in our society. We don't need lethal like officers, for example. They describe AI robots essentially that are non-lethal. So like instead of like, obviously there are robots that are going to be out here to help, but like you don't have to program it or build it to just like, you know, take people out unless it's like a war type of situation. I imagine a future where like we can evolve into a future where like you don't have to like, you know, harm people or take their lives. It can just be like a different solution. And I think that robotics is kind of a solution to that because, you know, robots can be programmed to be ethical and to stand and align with that. Obviously, it's kind of based on the data, which obviously is subject to bias, etc. But however, robot systems are becoming more and more intelligent. And so that means that they're coming to better solutions. And so that means that it's better solutions in any context for us to be able to really have a happier, healthier, better future. And so most definitely.
I agree with that. I just want to piggyback. I agree with that 100%. And to even further that point, it's so important. We're talking about continuous learning, everyone getting knowledgeable so that we are on this AI train together. It's so important to have diversity when it comes to the people who are building these programs and working on the algorithms and everything for AI. And that's why we as Black, brown, whatever color, however you identify, we need to be behind the scenes learning and a part of the programming and creating these algorithms for the AI so that we can have ethical reasoning and things built into artificial intelligence.
You want to know something big? Microsoft don't even have their avatars. You can't even put a do-rag on.
Wow.
If I create an avatar on Microsoft Teams, they don't have a do-rag. Why? Because Black people aren't building the system to say, hey, do-rags is what we wear. I wear my do-rag all the time. So I love when you said diversities, because if you only have one race, one culture building these systems, you have to understand their viewpoints, and we have to be part of the teams that's designing these things. But going back to what you said, Ash, I was listening to this Eric podcast, just stick to me because I just watched it. The CEO of Microsoft, ex-CEO of Google, they said right now in war, tanks are no longer valuable. They have drones that are taking out tanks, drones that are taking out buildings. They're saying now the war zone is drone against drone. That's robot, robot.
AI against
That
AI.
is what the warfare is whose AI is better than the other person's AI. And that's kind of where the world is going.
Yes.
And it's testing a lot of that stuff in the war right now in Russia and Ukraine. That's why we're sending so much stuff over there, because we're testing a lot of our warfare.
That's wild.
You know what? I could believe that. I mean, we always see a huge technological boom after a war. It's always happened. Every time a war has happened, especially in modern history in the last 150 years, there always was a huge technology boom that happened right after that. So I definitely believe that they need to test out this technology in some kind of way, shape, or form. So yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. A whole lot of sense.
That's why Biden sent a lot over there to the Middle East, that war. So the only way we can make our systems better, you have to use them. So we can be sitting in the lab building weapons all day, but if you don't put the battlefield, how do we know it actually works? So that we send our stuff over there. People, obviously when we look at the government, it's like, okay, why are we sending weaponry over there? But it's to protect ourselves too. We need to enhance our system. What did that drone work? Did that system work? What do we need to tweak here and there? Now, is it ethical? No. But as an American, do I love it?
No.
I mean, I want to be safe.
I mean, we can build our own
there are military simulations,
blow up stuff.
I feel like we're gonna get there. I feel like they probably have that. I don't know.
I read somewhere, or I saw an interview where I'm not sure of his position, but he was obviously in government, and he was talking about how in China, their simulations, the Chinese simulations, won every single time when they were combated against the US AI war simulations. And so when we speak of AI versus AI and where we're all at, and in the world, especially on the world stage, it's really, really important for us to also be able to understand the importance of collaboration. And instead of having to always go to war and just we're coming to the point where we have to move forward with logic and reasoning. And war doesn't really make too much sense, at the bottom line. Maybe to some people, but yeah.
Such a good point. Oh my goodness.
So then, who are we fighting? I got a question for you to ask. If there's no war, but we're still building weaponry, who are we fighting?
Like you said, a simulation.
So why do we need the
tools?
So
yeah, I mean that's a great question. I think this should just be focused on a more proactive take. And I think it might be in a Bible verse where it's saying just make sure that you keep your home secure just in case a robber comes. You keep those systems in place just in case, because you understand that's the reality. However, when you operate from a moral, ethical standpoint, you don't deploy them just because, especially when we're coming into a polarized. So Rebecca made a great point earlier about a more polarized, divided world. That's what we do not need. And so all other countries, I think that they are very reasonable. And there's no need for us to have to settle for just world war, just because other people aren't able to have discussions with reasonable morals and ethics.
Agreed.
I think on a human level, so I'm out here in DR right now, the Dominican Republic. And I recently was in an area, a friend invited me to see their business. So I went to see their business and I Ubered there. Now, mind you, usually when I'm out and about, I usually am not having my jewelry on, no chains or anything like that. Because there's a saying in Spanish, what is it? It's basically it translates to don't give papaya. And papaya is basically saying yo, you don't want to look flashy in certain places because then basically you're a lick for them to come and get you. That being said, my friend, I didn't realize their business was in a very, very hood impoverished area. So I Ubered there. My Uber dropped me off and I get out of the car and mind you, it's nighttime and I'm telling you, it's probably 300, 400 people that are just out there on the block. And they're all people are looking at me. It's a lot of people on their bikes that are looking at me. And I'm the whole time I'm thinking yeah, somebody about to get me. I'm about to get stabbed up or something. So the whole time, I'm walking around pacing because I'm not trying to just sit still and for somebody to swarm me. So I'm walking around. I'm trying to look like I know where I'm at, but they could tell I'm a gringo. So my friend sees me, and my friend comes around. I'm blowing my friend's phone up, like, yo, you need to hurry up. So my friend sees me, and my friend looks at me, and my friend is like, yo, are you scared? And I'm like, no, I was like, I'm trying to look tough. Like I said, but yeah, I'm scared. And my friend says to me, later on, I'm having a conversation with them, and I randomly bring this up, and it's going to correlate to what we're talking about. Where I say to my friend, I'm like, yo, I didn't know that like you lived in like such a like poor hood area. And I asked him out of curiosity, I said, yo, like growing up here, I said, how often have you heard stories of people getting stabbed or people getting like getting shot? And my friend was like, never. Like no one, like nothing has ever happened, ever. And I was like, what? Yeah. And I said, but y'all are in such a in poverty area. And my friend said, yeah, but the way that our community is, he said, we actually look out for each other. And it's like, we have the belief that we're all so down and out. Why would we ever do wrong to each other? We should all serve each other. So we all should elevate and become greater. And so now my dad blew my mind. It wrecked everything that I learned in America, where we're taught, oh, the more poor you are, the more hood you have to be, or the more, dangerous you are. And I was like, man, so I realized, okay, there's clearly something else here that's going on. But that being said, to the point of what's being made with Ash is how hopefully we will eventually get to a point to where as a nation, or not as a nation, as a world, as a globe, we're like, hey, look, we're at the point now with technology and AI to where now it is silly for us to have these like direct conflicts and wars against one another. I actually believe, so first of all, I don't believe it's ever going to happen unless we find a common enemy. And I think that common enemy will either one, it'll be a type 2 or type 3 civilization, which that gets into not even sci-fi, so that's not even science fiction, that's a legitimate thing. But that delves into more of a science world. So for instance, our world right now, we're what's considered, y'all let me know in the chat if anybody's familiar with this, because a lot of y'all know about these topics better than I do. Our world right now, we're still considered a type 0 civilization.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Cyrus. I studied this. I know
Type
exactly.
1 is where, and correct me on any of this, Mike. Type 1 civilization. So right now, as a type 0 civilization, we have to rely on the minerals of our planet, the oil, all of those things, in order to survive, in order to power what we're doing. A type 2 civilization is a civilization that's able to tap into basically like the sky, and tap into like not outer space, but almost outer space in terms of resource. So meaning we can power things when it comes to using the weather. Like we're able to use the weather to power everything we're doing. And then a type 3 is when we're actually able to use the sun. Literally the sun will power everything we're doing. Now, mind you, we're still a type 0 civilization. Now, all of this sounds goofy. It's like, what does it mean? It also correlates to how far advanced we are and what we'll be able to do. It's predicted that by the time we are a type 3 civilization, just like Ash, by the time we're a type 3 civilization, we will be cyborgs. So we'll be part AI and part people, and people will have like different cybernetic parts. Again, this gets really wonky and really crazy, but I personally don't believe that we will ever fully come together as a people until either one, we have a war against AI robotics, or two, somebody said Ash is AI, or two, Buckhead Networking Group Media. Or two, we're warring against a greater civilization, aliens, whatever. Maybe that won't happen. Maybe the Lord is going to come before that. For those of y'all that are Christians, but look, I want to get into the comments real quick, and then we can transition over to the next topic. As I get ready to jump into the comments, though, I do want to mention to everybody that's here, for those of y'all that are enjoying this conversation and you want to be a part of a community of tech professionals, the actual premier tech hub in Atlanta. Now, you don't have to live in Atlanta to be a part of it. Make sure you go and click the link down below so you can join our free tech community of over 5,000 professionals, founders, people that are tech curious, people that are tech founders, as well as recruiters and more. We're going to have recurring events. Already we have recurring events within our community, within the Buckhead Networking Group, but now we're about to launch recurring tech networking events as well. So make sure y'all tune into that. Those events will be hosted by the people that you see here, as well as a few other people that are here on the team. Of course, we have Miss Rebecca, who's here, where she is a cybersecurity professional working at a big tech company. We have Mike, who's here, who's been in the tech industry for a while. He actually is the most technical person here, I would say, in terms of him actually having skill set and experience as a software engineer. But to take it a step further, he is a founder of a AI company called Biz Inc., where, as you can imagine with the name, their customer base, they are a B to B to C type of business, where if you have a business and you're trying to get more recognition with your business within people that are local to you or within your customer base, definitely tap in with Biz Inc. and what they're doing. It's really incredible stuff. Of course, y'all know we got Ash, who's here, our AI specialist, who is a former tech recruiter herself, now currently working at a different tech company. But aside from that, she is the founder of Better Boost, and her AI technology is going crazy. I have pre-ordered my technology that she's currently wearing right now. Uh, and look, y'all, make sure that y'all tap in with our free community. It doesn't. We don't just talk about tech. We talk about other. It's a large community of over 5,000 people. We have different like professional events, different like romantic dating style events. It's a really incredible community that's growing and booming. So make sure y'all join sooner rather than later, especially those of y'all that really want to tap in and be a part of what we're doing. Because by the time we get to 10,000 and 15,000 members, it's going to be significantly harder for you to be able to gain some type of position or some type of some type of position within the community for you to be able to do what you want to do. So make sure you join sooner rather than later. Click the link down below. It'll say the tech is new black, but literally if you book a call with my team, just tell the team that you're booking a call. If you're only interested in the community, tell them that you're only interested in the community, and my team will make sure that you're tapped in with the community. Anyway, that being said, let's get to these comments real quick. So,
hey, Johnny in the building. I just want to shout out Big Boss CEO. I seen you in the comments, boss man. Hey, appreciate you for tuning in, Johnny. Go ahead.
Yeah, that being said, so Johnny actually left a couple comments. So yeah, just to double down on what Mike said, Johnny is the CEO of Buckhead Networking Group, which Tech is the New Black is now a part of. So Johnny is a CEO of it all. So definitely, I mean, a lot of y'all probably know him already. For those of y'all who don't, make sure y'all tap in with him. Just follow. Make sure you follow the Buckhead Networking Group page on Instagram. It's a really active page with a lot of cool stuff going on. But that being said, let's go ahead and get into some of these comments. So yeah, Johnny, speaking of Johnny, Johnny's over here telling Mike to smile. I guess Mike, he didn't feel Mike smiling. And then Jamal says, Cyrus, I'm really impressed by y'all youngsters. Real talk. Hey, look, we appreciate you. Thank you so much, Jamal. Appreciate all the feedback you've been giving in the comments and the engagement. You definitely been going in, giving a lot of insights. I might not be mentioning all of your comments, but I'm reading them, and I'm definitely seeing a lot of the value that you're giving in the comments. Mike asks, and this is going back to the AI we were talking about. He says, can it help me find, not Mike, but Johnny. Johnny said, can it help me find a wife?
Maybe.
It may be.
Maybe not be the wife you want.
We got listen, we got AI bots walking around scoping your perfect match.
You can have her. You can have her.
Yo. So Jamal says, I've been in government working as a contractor for the last 24 years, and I've been testing this technology and building combat weapon systems. R&D is critical, and trust me, the military and even movies have been testing this technology for almost 30 years. Yeah, it's one of those things where our government, and to your point, Jamal, our government has always wanted this, but it's one of those things where our desires, our technology wasn't where our desires were. And so, I mean, we could see it. Like, think about Back to the Future, Terminator, any of the movies. Our imagination, our creativity was there, but the actual technology didn't exist yet. So, yeah, to your point, it's just the fact that as we've had variations of this within the military, I served in the Marine Corps. I got to see some technology, probably not as much as you, Jamal, when I was serving. But all in all, we're finally at a point to where our technology is catching up with our imagination. And the irony is that now our imagination is limited. And so AI is going to start taking over and being like, okay, y'all's imagination is limited, but now I'm going to supercharge what can be created. So if anything, again, going back to what I said earlier, we're a type 0 civilization. And I mean, we've been around for, depending on your beliefs and your views. If you're a part of the Judeo-Christian faith, then you believe we've been around for roughly 8,000 years, 6,000 to 8,000 years. If you are, anything else, you would say, hey, we've been around for maybe about 200,000 years. either way, let's say we've been around for 200,000 years. By the time it takes from us to get from a type 1 to a type 2, that'll probably only take about 500 years because everything is expediting so
Can I
fast.
talk about that? Because I love
Oh,
that
yeah.
you brought that conversation up. Because I always tell people, if we can reach the astral belt, there's more materials in the astral belt that Earth has to
What
offer.
is an astral belt?
The astral belt is the belt after Mars. So when you think of the Sun, Venus, Mercury, is it Mercury or Venus? Mercury then Venus. Well, whichever one the order is, y'all help me out. You got the Sun, you got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, then the astral belt. The astral belt is a bunch of rocks. It's a bunch of rocks. If we can reach the astral belt and mine the astral belt, and right now Elon Musk is working on technology just to get to Mars and to make a colony on Mars. Right now we're building a space station on the moon because it's easier to lift off from the moon to go to Mars than Earth to go to Mars. So we have a lot of things that they're working on right now when you talk about the civilization, and I love that you brought it up because I kind of studied it. It went super far. Like when you talk about Civilization 9, it's just crazy. But and the thing, we're not even one yet, but I see it coming so quickly. And just seeing what Ash looks like right now, that is going to be our reality in the future because people are going to have to embed themselves with these tools. Because at the end of the day, we as humans are always curious. The robots aren't going to be curious. We are curious to want to expand and see what is our limit, what is our potential. They do research all the time on the study of humans. How can we live longer? They have things out there that can they age the rat to 70 and regenerate it back to 30 because as humans we just want to live longer and we want to expand our knowledge and our reach, and with AI it's going to allow us to skip all the learning curves. I don't have to sit in school for 18 years of my life to learn a subject, to be able to graduate. Imagine kids graduating at the age of 7 and be able to instill all that knowledge because they sat in front of an AI computer that taught them those things, and the investment of the human mind and the brain of how far we can go. So I love to just talk about just the civilization and where we're going because it's crazy.
Yeah.
And like I said, in the next 500,000 years, I wish I was on this earth 500 years from now.
I was just
I want
like
to
3
see what
days
it looks
ago. Like this is such an exciting time right now, but I was like, dang, I'm low key jealous. I'm not living 200 years from now.
like.
To
Come
see,
You
on.
never know. They might come out with some technology where you can, people want to live forever. That's like the thing. So you just never
yeah.
know.
I got a friend that said
Yeah.
he would chop his arm off and turn into a cyborg just because he wants to be a cyborg so bad. He would literally embed himself into a computer. You have Elon Musk drilling in people's brains, and people are saying, yes, put that Neuralink in me. I'm not going to allow you to drill in my brain, but there is going to be a time, 100 years from now, that's going to be normal procedure.
Like that show Black Mirror. I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
ever
I
watched
watched that.
that,
Yeah, I
but
watched
it
that.
had a lot of aspects in it that was like, wow, this could really be a thing.
It's scary, but it's true.
So we got a question from a Buckhead Networking Group Media. So the question from BNG Media is, what jobs are at risk with the emergence of AI? I'll give my input on a high level, and then I'll pass this over to anyone else who wants to touch on it. So short term, many jobs aren't at risk short term, especially not in certain industries. Obviously, talking about the tech industry, but there's other industries as well. That short term, being a lawyer, short term is not at risk. Being a medical doctor or surgeon, short term is not at risk. The list goes on and on. Short term things that are at risk, and I know this for a fact because I know the people behind the scenes that are working on this. Being a clerk, and this is something we always knew. Being a clerk at a grocery store, Walmart, and I can say this because Walmart one of my friends just closed a 8-figure deal with Walmart, Sam's Club, and someone else behind the scenes because they are preparing to get rid of all of their people. Because one of the things that's been in existence before the AI started popping up or got popular was that we've already seen self-checkout. Now with AI, with robots being able to scan things, then being able to up security, it is a serious plan for them to go ahead and just get rid of their workers. But instead of them just getting rid of their workers, their plan is to offer their workers not just severance package, but to offer them to pay for them to do a tech boot camp. And I know of this because I don't know if this is publicly yet, so I can't say this. But the person, I'll say it like this: the way Tech is New Black is how we're connected with a lot of different boot camps. We recommend people. My friend, their business is similar, but they are in a kind of different market, if that makes sense. Like I'm more, I work with individual people helping people get in tech. My friend's business, they work with companies and corporations that are planning on getting rid of their staff, and those companies are paying my friend's business to help them get people those tech skills. So that being said, it's coming down the pipeline. So now long term, everything for the most part is at risk. Lawyers are definitely for the most part going to get replaced. This is the sequence we're going to see. The first sequence we're going to see is we're going to see people starting to use these tools, which we're seeing that now. The second layer of sequence is going to be it's going to be a necessity to use these tools. And if you're not knowing how to use these tools, then you're going to look less efficient, or you're not going to look as qualified. Then the next layer is going to be people knowing how to create these tools to do certain tasks already. So instead of there being, like, let's say, instead of there being a senior software engineer who has 10 software developers working under them and all of their software developers are using AI, eventually it'll just be that senior software engineer where they're using an AI tool where that AI is managing the other AI tools. And I think this is where we get into either AGI or is it ASI, Ash?
Artificial superintelligence.
Yeah, artificial superintelligence. And then eventually, so y'all see, eventually it'll roll downhill to where a lot of these things aren't needed. We already see that AI is doing surgeries, AI and robotics crossed over, are doing successful surgeries. They're able to, they have a more level of detail than a doctor can, than a medical doctor can when it comes to doing surgery. We're seeing, literally, there's a company last year, lawyers have been boycotting a company called what's the name of the company? It's a company that came out last year where it's a company where basically it's an AI lawyer. And as we can imagine, that's honestly one of the easiest things for AI to replace is a lawyer. And I hate to say that, no disrespect to any lawyers here, but it's like your job is to know all of the laws, to know the case of what happened with your client, and to be able to argue for your client or argue against the person that you're trying to prosecute. That's the easiest thing for AI to do. AI will know all the laws in 30 seconds in your state or your city. AI will know the case in 30 seconds. AI can argue better than a human can argue because it knows every law, it's like trying to play chess against AI. It's like you can't beat it because it knows every way that you don't know how to go. So anyway, eventually everything will be replaced. And that's why my belief is everybody get in tech if you're not in tech, or if you don't care to be in tech, do something. That's number one. Preferably get in the industry in a way where you are learning or leveraging AI. That's number two. The third part is collaborating with other people that are in the industry or networking. That's why BNG, what we're doing with Buckhead Networking Group, is so important, y'all, to join a community of other tech professionals where now you're in a community, you're networking, you're mixing and mingling. Now you meet with 2 or 3 people, y'all can literally create your own AI startup. All of you, let's say you and the other 3 people, let's say all of y'all make on average $200,000 a year. That's $800,000 a year. At that point, you don't even need funding from a bank for your startup. You have your software developer, you have your tech salesperson, you have your business analyst person, you have your project manager. Y'all create this startup together. Y'all are able to bankroll it yourselves, still living your nice 6-figure lives while building this business. It's easy for y'all to get funding and investing because layers on layers of it. But this is why B&G is so important in terms of having a community of professionals. So that's number 2. Number 2 is you going from being in the industry and leveraging AI to collaborating with others to create your own startup, or at least invest a lot of your 6-figure salary into other tech startups that you see in B&G. So you investing in a Biz Inc. You investing in Better Boost and the technology of what Ash is doing. So that way, as you know, and as we know, investing in these businesses as they grow up, as they scale, we know passively that'll grow your income. So either way, the only 2 safety nets that we have as a people, and I'm saying this for everybody in here, and I say as a people, both as a Black man, but also just as a human. If you in here in the chat, you my people. the only safety nets we honestly have are either one, becoming a big investor in this technology, or two, being the founder of this technology. Outside of that, there is no job or role where you're going to be safe. That's just the name of the game. So
You
get
said
in
that
now, scale now, collaborate with others, and create your own, or invest a lot of your money into others that already exist.
I hope y'all taking notes because
Yeah.
you just dropped your gem,
Yeah, you
Cyrus.
said that perfectly, bro.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
I don't even have anything to say. Like, yes.
Hey, thank y'all for the super chats. Hey, appreciate that. We got a 99-cent super chat from Warden the Net, and then he also dropped a $1.99. Hey, appreciate that. Appreciate it,
Thank
brother.
you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
thank
That's great.
you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Look, y'all. So I'm gonna address a couple more comments, and we got to get back into this news. So Ash, you get ready for the next piece of news. We can transition over to. So
Hey, Cyrus, I am going to drop in a few. I'll let y'all continue y'all show. But what is the ETA on the show?
we're gonna wrap up at least. Well, I was gonna say 3. It'll be 2:00 y'all's time, 3:00 my time.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. If any point in time you need to drop, that's totally cool. Appreciate having you here. It's been definitely been refreshing to have y'all here.
Most definitely.
So Buckhead said, "Put my brain inside of a clone." That actually might be what people are gonna do. People are probably gonna like have their brain, or it won't even. The thing is, it won't even need to be our brains. It'll just because AI can copy your personality, so it can copy your consciousness, and so you technically, y'all know what's gonna be beautiful is that in the next at least 10 years, maybe 5 years, whenever grandchildren or children lose their parent or their grandparents or their great grandparents, instead of having to look at photo albums or instead of having to look on social media, they will be able to interact with the the digital copy of their family member that they lost. So we actually are going to, and we're not far away from this now. This is going to happen literally within the next couple of years if it hasn't happened already. So where whenever, let's say you have a spouse, you and your spouse will be able to upload your consciousness and who you are into some database. So if you ever lose your spouse, lose your partner, lose a family member, you will be able to interact with them like it.
Black Mirror. There's an episode about that.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yes,
man.
Yes, it is. But it's so dangerous.
It was crazy.
But it's so dangerous. That the reason I say that's so dangerous is because, like they said, the reason humans are going to always have purpose is because we see reality and we look forward.
Yeah.
AI can only see the past. So say, for example, you put a consciousness of your grandma, you want to ask your grandma some advice from the consciousness of your grandma. Your grandma point of view could have changed due to today's reality. But if you're talking to the grandma from an older reality, would it be able to advise you the right strategy for the future? Because AI can only see the past. So that's the trickiness behind the clones out. It's going to be wonderful just to see the refresher of hearing the voice, seeing the face, talking to these clones of our people. But the scary part, how far do we get to really connecting with these people? You lose your wife from a tragic accident, and now this person is obsessed with this one person on TV and has never connected back with another woman. Is that dangerous? That you're so attached to this now conscious bot?
Yeah, a lot of people aren't going to move on. They're gonna be. So you know what? So I agree with that point. There's one thing you said that I disagree with, and I'm not saying I'm right. I could be completely wrong. I want to know from y'all in the chat. So the point that you brought up, where you're saying that AI, it'll only, and I get where you're coming from. You're saying it'll only be able to assess the past, so it might not be able to talk to you either about basically it might not be able to talk to you about future things, or like let's say it's a parent, let's say a child loses their parent, let's say I'm 11 years old, I lose my father. So now when I'm 18, 19, I'm trying to ask him about what I should do career wise, or maybe I'm trying to ask him about, I'm thinking about marrying my girlfriend, am I too young, whatever, we're in love though. And it's like, okay, because AI only understands my father from the perspective of me when I was 11 and the advice he gave me at 11, then maybe it might not be able to advise on that. The only reason I would disagree with that, just this scenario, I would say, is because AI, and Ash could probably speak to this a lot more. AI, what I've been learning really through learning this through Ash is that it's at a point now to where it doesn't just know our past. It can algorithmically, it can make predictions based on how we would respond to things. Like it's just like the algorithm on social media.
But then does that make it the true person at that point anymore? Or is that the AI at that point? Because now you're just predicting what a person would have, you think that person would say, but due to that person, we don't know what that person would have said. So it's tricky.
That's real.
It's
No,
real
that's
tricky.
real.
It's real tricky.
That's real. What do y'all think in the comments? I'm curious. Y'all, we getting into some wonky stuff, but we love it though. We love it though. Ash, are you ready to pull up the next piece of news?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, you guys already know how Elon Musk was suing OpenAI just because he didn't like the way that it was, evolving from a nonprofit. And so basically, he was suing OpenAI and Microsoft. And so essentially, this is for antitrust violations and monopolistic practices. And so he claims that these companies have stifled competition and consolidated power in the AI industry. And so this basically is just raising concerns about fairness and accessibility. And so if basically this lawsuit succeeds, it could lead to greater transparency and open communication in the AI space, fostering innovation. However, on a regulatory stage, we're looking at really catalyzing strong regulations around AI ownership and usage. Also, smaller companies obviously are going to be able to benefit from these advantages in the competitive landscape. And so as far as like real life applications, we're looking at startups gaining really access to exclusive AI technologies. And also we're looking at lower prices for AI products. And as competition increases, we're looking at really being able to have to evolve in this space as business owners, as individuals. And so first and foremost, do you guys think that Elon Musk is right to sue OpenAI or Microsoft for antitrust violations or for stifling competition or innovation? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the comments. Keep it real. Let us know. Do you think that Elon has the right to be able to do these things? Obviously, since he's presented it on like a legal stage, there is some backing. Do you guys think he's going to win? Well, Cyrus, what do you think?
I think it's going to win because if it is in writing, which I do believe that it was, if it was in writing, because initially when OpenAI launched, their plan was to be a nonprofit. That's what they said they were going to be at first. Now, obviously, plans change as a business. That being said, if an investor invests in your business off the premise of you doing something as a nonprofit, you claim you're doing it just for the betterment of humanity and not to become rich. But now all of a sudden you in the billionaires boy club and it's your for-profit business. Technically, that he does have legal ground, in my opinion. I'm not a lawyer, but on my opinion, it sounds like he does have legal ground to be able to sue and win against Sam Altman and OpenAI. See, I think, but also his new position in Dodge, like we talked about earlier, I low-key think, I'm gonna be real, I'm gonna give my real opinion. I think Elon Musk low-key a hater.
No, I'm glad you said that, Cyrus. I'm glad you said that. He's just mad he lost the chess match. He lost the chess match. He invested in, listen, because I know the backstory between, when she was saying this, I know the backstory between, it's a man. He invested in OpenAI. Sam Altman and him did not have agreements of where they should take the future. Sam wanted to go this way. Elon wanted to go this way. Elon Musk hates Bill Gates. Bill Gates said, okay, you're gone. I'm investing $100 million in this. And Elon was mad about that move. Yeah. It's just a chess match. And Elon Musk is just butthurt. But then that's why he bought Twitter. Why did he buy Twitter? Because OpenAI trained their whole model off of Twitter's language. So all the tweets and all the threads that Twitter was using, that's how they trained the large language model. So he said, okay, bet. I'm gonna buy what you use, because he knew what they used to train the model. But then Sam like, okay, I'm just gonna pull all the information from the web. So it's just a chess match that's going on right now. He just butthurt, and this is just a lawsuit for tech wars.
Wow.
That's the truth. Elon Musk is a combination between Kanye West and 50 Cent. He like his petty side is 50 Cent, but his like quirkiness and weird genius is like the Kanye West of his. Elon Musk actually said that he looks up to Kanye West. Like he looks at Kanye West as like an example of a kind of person he wants to be, which makes a lot of sense. But it's funny because I remember when Elon when he started hating Bill Gates, It was when Bill Gates shorted Tesla stock. I think it was like 10 years ago. And all he did was shorted the stock. He didn't think Tesla was going to be successful. I think Warren Buffett shorted the stock as well because he didn't understand it. Since then, Elon Musk has been waiting for a moment to be like, yo, I'm coming for y'all. Like,
Yes.
so you know what? You actually help close the loop as to the other reasons for his beef with Sam Altman. It's not just about Sam Altman. It's also about Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. And Bill Gates making so much money off of this right now. That's why Elon Musk is butthurt. But going back to the antitrust law, yes, I feel like it was foul play. I do feel like Sam Altman did say it's going to be a nonprofit for just research, and then you now come into a for-profit. Now I can see how Elon Musk, as a stakeholder that invested in a company for a certain vision, can get upset that a man tweaked his vision and changed it off of the premises of capital. And obviously, you're making your competitor rich, Bill Gates. So that's why. So it's a lot of men to this. It's a lot of personal, but then there's a lot of business to it too.
You know what's interesting about Elon that makes him very different from a lot of the other billionaires is that most of the other billionaires or these tech giants, when they're beefing with somebody, they will usually go to the competitor of the person that they're beefing with, and they'll collaborate with the competitor. Like we've been seeing that a lot recently with Apple usually makes moves like that. Amazon makes moves like that. Elon is different. Elon doesn't go to somebody and say, hey, let's collaborate. Elon's like, we just gonna make our own. Like he's like, we gonna create our own AI company to rival OpenAI. It's like, bro, out of nowhere, but he does it though. Like, love him or hate him, there's a lot of things I don't like about him, a lot of things I love about him. Love him or hate him, that man does it. Like,
you know, he's integrated Group into I think it's Group AI. It's embedded into Oracle. So basically, Oracle, the largest database company in the world. You know, all our data systems go through Oracle, MySQL. They are training off of his AI system.
I thought, and this is a sidebar, I thought he changed the name from Group to XAI. Or is that a different AI? Is XAI
I think that's
different?
just Twitter. That's just Twitter. The back. So you got Llama. Llama is like the Meta's AI. I think the back infrastructure is Group. I don't know if he changed the name to. I thought XAI was just for his X platform, but I'm not sure on the titles.
Yeah. Dennis said these billionaires be petty. Look, they're so petty, y'all.
They're petty.
So petty. Like, and the thing is, we are all pawns in their game. Like, we just like, okay, all right. Like, it's really crazy. It is really crazy. So, man, this is interesting. I wonder how this is gonna pan out because I wonder who's gonna come out on top. Honestly,
I would say this. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
it's B2B and B2C. Elon Musk is taking the government approach. Sam Altman is taking the consumer approach. Right. You got to think: do governments sell cell phones? No. We use cell phones every day, and that goes to a private company. That's a consumer. But we are embedded in the government, so it's regulated by the government. So Elon Musk is taking more of a government. Yeah. OpenAI is going to be open consumers. So it's that battle. Mm-hmm. But so then Elon Musk may be able to regulate.
That's what I was going to say.
The consumers. Mm-hmm. So it's a chess match right now.
It's interesting. I do believe Elon might come out on top. I forget who it was. It was one of the other people that are part of PayPal Mafia. I forget which billionaire it was that said this recently. But he said he would never bet against Elon. I would never bet against Elon. I would never go. But I think that's part. Mind you, all of these men to some degree are geniuses. Like, they're all geniuses. Like, you don't get to do the stuff they do without, whether you like them or you hate them. They're geniuses. You got to give them their credit. That being said, Elon is a genius that's on a spectrum where he literally has something off about him. And so in a literal sense, like, he has what is it? Asperger's. He has like some stuff, but he's like really on the spectrum in a way where I don't think anybody is basically, he's almost like Thanos, where it's like you can't beat him alone. The people have to come together to take him down or to defeat him. because he's just, and now with his collaboration with Trump, like the move he just made with him technically not being attached to the government, it's like, it's like Thanos. It's like literally that scene where it's literally like that scene where Thor comes down and he stabs Thanos with his hammer, and then Thanos is like, "You should have went for the head." Snap! It's like, that's what Eli's like looking at Sam Altman like, "You should have went for the government."
That's why when you ask that, I'm like, definitely Elon. I think he has more power.
Yeah, he has more influence, more power. You remember he said, I don't know how much the language on here, but Disney tried to boycott him, and he was on live stage, and he was like, "F him, F Disney. You're not gonna boycott me."
Yeah. Now you can say it. The only things I don't say on here, I try not to say things that'll get like the video taken down or demonetized, and that's usually if it's like, you know, saying like that's why I say pew pew or I say unalive, like stuff like that.
Okay.
Instead of saying certain things. But no, y'all. So, and we actually talked about this, I think, last week in the news where Elon Musk, they tried to they stopped sponsoring X, or they started losing ad dollars, and Disney tried to control him and said, yeah, if you don't do this, you don't do that, then if you don't start talking about certain things, then we're not going to basically pay for funding on X. And then Elon was like, yo, if you try to blackmail me, and it was during a live stage thing, which is what Mike is talking about. He was like, go fuck, in his accent, he's like, go fuck yourself. and then the interviewer was like, and then Elon was like, oh, let me say it again. If you try to do this and this, go fuck yourself. And he's like, is that clear enough? And everybody was like, dang, he clearly was talking about Disney. Yeah. So yeah, that man is that man has a lot of enemies. He beefing with a lot of people.
But you understand why? Like if you go back, like y'all brought up his childhood. Like I got the research on Elon Musk back from South Africa, like how he was born. He was bullied. He was bullied.
Yeah, he was bullied a lot.
He didn't get respect. So it's like that kid to become a cop. Now you got a lot of power. You're gonna say whatever you want. You beef with anybody because you can say it. You can do it. You can be a bully now.
That's real. All right, so look, we're gonna address this comment, and we're gonna get to the because of the sake of time, get to the last piece of tech news. So Emmanuel says, with Dogecoin, the advent of the government Doge position, X, SpaceX, and Tesla. Oh, don't stop there. We also got to talk about Solar, which is his other company. We also have to talk about Boring Company. Yep, the Boring Company. And then what is there's the company where, is that a part of SpaceX? It's the company where Starlink, that's the other company. Oh, and then we have to talk about Neuralink. Like, this thing got so many. This is why when we talk about job stacking, I'm like, shut up. Elon Musk, his company's stacking like 10 companies he's the CEO of right now. Like, be quiet. But anyway, with Dogecoin, the advent of the government, Doge position, X, SpaceX, and Tesla, and all the other companies we just named, and probably some other ones we don't even know about, it is imperative that our tech savvy. It is imperative that we are tech savvy. I'm not trying to be left behind like my pops not knowing how to use the internet.
Facts.
Big facts. Okay.
Yeah.
That takes us all the way back to continuous learning.
Buckhead Networking Group.
Literally.
Collaborating. Building your own.
Yeah. And look, y'all, we actually have a tech event that's coming up. It's going to be December 15th. Listen, y'all are hearing 14. Thank you. Y'all are hearing this first. We have not announced this yet. So make sure y'all click the link below. Y'all join the free community so that way y'all can get the updates before anybody else, so you can get your tickets before it sells out. Look, y'all, Buckhead Networking Group events have always been incredible. That's a huge part of the reason why I became very interested in Texas New Black, being a part of what Buckhead Network Group is doing. And what's crazy is that around the same time I had interest in us being a part, I realized that there was a mutual interest that Johnny, the CEO of Buckhead Network Group, had with Texas New Black as well. So that way we could come together and be the premier tech hub in Atlanta and eventually other parts of the US as well. So make sure you tap in. Even if you're not in Atlanta, make sure you pull up. The last tech event that Tech is New Black had ourselves, we had people flying in from London. Somebody flew in from Canada. So listen, y'all, that being said, now that we're part of a much larger organization, which is BNG, understand no matter where you're at, there is value in being a part of what it is that we're doing, whether we're talking about the events, whether we're talking about the engagement on the platform, the tech side of things, learning about AI through Ash and others. Make sure y'all tap into the free community, y'all. That being said, I'm going to get into this last piece of tech news. Y'all, this is a doozy. So Google's AI initiative transforming Africa and the Middle East. So Google has launched the AI Opportunity Initiative, aiming to unlock AI's potential in the Middle East and North Africa, according to a recent report. AI could contribute to a 320 billion, could contribute 320 billion to these economies by 2030. In Africa, this means that transforming industries like agriculture, healthcare, and education, making them smarter and more efficient. But as AI grows, so do concerns about equitable access and ethical use. Will this initiative help bridge the digital gap between Africa and other nations and continents, or could it leave some communities behind? Want to know from y'all, those of y'all in the chat, as well as those of y'all, my co-hosts, what are y'all thoughts on this? Africa and the Middle East being supercharged by AI, Google overseeing the initiative. What are our thoughts on this?
Ash, what's your opinion? We ain't heard from
So,
you in a minute. Cheers.
I think when it comes down to ownership, so like obviously as individuals, as businesses, like ownership is the bottom line. And so a lot of these, especially these large monopolies like Microsoft, they've been investing in Africa, for example, for like medical, testing, et cetera, et cetera. And so when we're getting into artificial intelligence, I just feel as though it's a testing pool. It makes a lot of sense for these organizations to obviously, or these countries to invest in their own people. So like in the Middle East, obviously, they're really doing a lot of great things with AI. Obviously, in Africa, there's a lot of room for development. And so he's going to be able to democratize artificial intelligence when he brings, this technology to Africa, for example, which is a great market. So like the demographic for Africa, obviously the most biodiverse region, but also the youngest demographic and most populous. So the future is Africa. And so I respect, Microsoft for making those decisions to investing into, the places that they're already investing in and transitioning into tech. However, I do also think that it's important for our own people to also do the same and follow the same path to really invest into the motherland as well, because there's so much opportunity. So most definitely, I'm interested to see what you guys think, Michael and Rebecca.
Well, I agree. I think accessibility is so important, and being able to have access to learning about AI in different languages, I feel like it's huge that they're adding that component. I think that's the biggest thing, and just sharing that knowledge, closing the gap, and giving everyone an opportunity to grow and be a part of something that's huge and a part of something that's the future. I agree 100% with everything that you said.
And one of the biggest things that comes from this, I have two sides, pros and cons, but the pro of this is the ability to learn English, to learn one language so everyone can talk the same and we can understand everyone. That's been so powerful in this world while we have less conflict. And being able to throw these tools in these countries to translate our textbooks into their language so they can learn and understand, and not only that, be able to speak the same language as everyone. Only con I see from this is these people always try to colonize Africa, and I just hope they're not still on that the colonial thought process of finding ways to just take advantage of Africa, and they're doing it out of goodwill.
Yeah.
To really help the people and not just mine their resource. Like I said, you got to test and develop your programs to then try to off of it. So just hopefully Microsoft and these companies are going into these countries really trying to help the citizens and not trying to make capital.
Really good point. Yeah.
I think there's a dual opportunity here as I think about it, because investing, so if there's a dual benefit in terms of the real estate side, and then obviously the tech career side of things, that if Google or Microsoft or whatever company, and this is, I literally was thinking about this as you were talking, Mike, as they invest into certain regions, if they also simultaneously invest in land that's out there, which I know Amazon has done. I think Amazon has a site that's getting built in South Africa. It's probably finished at this point because I think I saw that news earlier this year. If they're investing in real estate and then they also create jobs, like high paying jobs, tech jobs, by default, it's like they can increase the income of people that live there, which means the cost of goods and everything else that there is going to go up, which means the cost of real estate and the value of real estate is going to go up. There could be a duality where on one end they're investing to create workers that of course will grow and expand their business and their investments. But two, the land that they own out there will become more valuable. The real estate will become more valuable. So it's almost like they'll be able to eat from both sides at the end. And again, this is a theory as I'm thinking about this. I'm like, that
Yeah.
would be a crazy strategic thing to do. Of course, I know that we all aren't comfortable with that. And the name of the game is going back to Mike's point and also Johnny's point in the comments as well, is making sure that we're investing into these things ourselves. I know I've seen a couple people that are starting to invest. I have a couple homeboys that are in tech where they have been investing in, I think, either Ghana or some other place. And they're also creating businesses and things out there as well, because I mean, there's a lot of great opportunity when it comes to everything. It's like a not an untapped market. It's a market that's been getting tapped into, but it's like now we're talking about with tech, it's a new way to tap into that market that does supercharge the people that are out there. I mean, everybody knows, or a lot of y'all in the chat probably don't know this. I've talked about this before. If you actually look up the top 5 earners in America, if we're speaking about ethnicity, white white people are not in the top 5 earners. And I don't say it as a way to disgrace white people, but just as a way to speak about when we talk about, the man keeping us down, they're not in a position to keep us down anymore. And I say that again respectfully, but literally, if you look up the top 5 earners ethnicity wise in America, and this is constantly shifting and changing, but for the most part, Indians are at the top. Nigerians are up there in like the top 3, top 4. Chinese, Japanese, Filipinos, they're all in that range. The only one that's really unique, that really stands out amongst those groups, realistically, are it is the Nigerians, because India technically is a part of Asia. Obviously, they try to separate it, but Indians are another variation of Asians. The Nigerians are the only ones that are very unique in that regards. And so I truly do believe that if we tap in with more of our community, whether we're talking the Black community, or we're talking the various different African communities as well, I do believe there's a lot of value. And again, given that evidence of how sufficient, how hardworking we can be. And again, this isn't me championing Black people being above other people, but I'm a believer of everybody elevating. But at the end of the day, we do need to look out for our own. We need to check our own household to make sure we're good before we can step outside of our house and try to check everybody else. But yeah, I'm pretty interested in this. 7 the underscore the gentleman says earners versus owners. Interesting. We're gonna put a question mark.
I do want to say, Cyrus, topic for the next conversation, I want to jump on universal basic income, if anyone doesn't understand about universal basic income, because I think that's a big topic that a lot of these tech CEOs are talking about when we talk about trying to go to these countries and take the land and own the land. It makes sense, but then how are you taking care of the people? And they're working on universal basic income, and I feel like that'd be a topic for the next show to dive deeper into, because it's huge right now.
Yeah, I think that would be a good component to add maybe to these, where we spend a little bit of time educating on a specific topic and not just talk about news, but educating on something on a more detailed layer for everybody. I think that'd be super good to add. I agree with you, Mike. Appreciate that. Let's do it next Saturday. Look, y'all. Hey, look, we appreciate everybody here that's been tuning in. I deeply, deeply appreciate my co-hosts and new co-hosts as well. Obviously, y'all know Ash, the AI specialist, Rebecca, cybersecurity queen. We got Mike in here, the CEO of Biz Inc. And look, y'all, we are Buckhead Networking Group. Make sure y'all tap in with us, the premier tech hub in Atlanta. if we're talking about in person, but digitally, globally. Make sure you tap in with us. Click the link down below if you're looking to get into the tech industry, whether you want to do what Tech is New Black offers or if you want to do something else. Either way, click the link down below to speak with the Tech is New Black team. They'll be able to help you get in the tech industry. And when you join the boot camp, you automatically get added into the community. For those of y'all that you're already in tech or you're still on the fence about it, either way, still join the Buckhead Networking Group community because again, it extends outside of tech. So for those of y'all that love this conversation, you're here. So clearly you love this conversation and you want more of this. You want access to tech events. You want access to resources to be able to grow, whether growing through learning AI for your business, for your career. You can tap in with Ash through BNG. And then also, if you are a business owner, you want to be able to grow your business, you can tap in. Make sure you tap in with what Michael's doing with Biz Inc. Overall, make sure y'all tap in with BNG. Again, it's over 5,000 members. BNG is not even, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even believe BNG is really even much older than a year old. And it's grown.
11 months.
11 months.
11 months old. We got a baby still.
40,000 on Instagram, 5,000 in Discord.
Yes. And we're not just talking to Discord, y'all. We're also talking the events are packed out, elegant events, elegant professional events that I went to. That was my experience with BNG, was going to their events. And I was like, yo, this is incredible. And then when I saw their Discord, how active it is, their community, I said, this is everything. And so that's why even our own community, Tech is New Black, we're a good community. And I say, yo, let's transition this over to BNG because what they're doing is so much more efficient than what we're doing. Obviously, we have the tech side of things covered, but through our collaboration with them, y'all, with the events we're going to be able to do, the tech companies we're going to be able to attract, the opportunity that's there, the investors, y'all, there's so much that's there for y'all to make sure y'all tap in with. Other than that, y'all, this has been probably my most fun stream that I've had because of the chat and because of my co-hosts that are here. Appreciate everybody that's here. Y'all make sure y'all tap in with us next Saturday. Other than that, y'all be blessed.
Thank you, Cyrus. Thank you, Ash.
Thank you
and
both.
thank you, the audience. Right, take care.
Be well.